In Module 3, Lesson 5, we're going to extend our understanding to the opposite of a number's opposite. And we'll begin by locating the number -2 and its opposite on the number line. We'll put a black dot on -2 and a green dot on its opposite. Next, we'll write integers that represent the different situations. 90 feet below sea level would be -90. $100 of debt would be -100. And 2 degrees Celsius above zero would be +2. Joe is at the ice cream shop and his house is 10 blocks north of the shop. The park is 10 blocks south of the ice cream shop. When he is at the ice cream shop, is Joe closer to the park or his house? And how could the number 0 be used in this situation? This situation should remind you very much of Lesson 4 when we were talking about the different pet stores and their distance from the bookstore. If Joe is at the ice cream shop and his house is 10 blocks north of the shop, we should use a vertical number line to represent. So we have a number line with 0, +10, and -10 marked. Obviously, our +10 is north and our -10 is south. Now, going back to our situation. Joe is at the ice cream shop and his house is 10 blocks north of the shop. So we must assume then that this is his house, and we'll label that in, but it also means that this would have to be the ice cream shop if his house is 10 blocks north of the shop. So we'll label that as well. And once we've labeled those two, and we continue, the park is 10 blocks south of the ice cream shop. That would put the park right here. Let's go ahead and label that and then answer the questions. When he is at the ice cream shop, is Joe closer to the park or his house? Well, the park is 10 blocks south and his house is 10 blocks north. So Joe is exactly the same distance to his house or to the park. And 0 in this situation we determined to be the ice cream shop. Which we can see after we labeled is very convenient. Continuing on with example 1, what is the opposite of 8? And how can we illustrate this on a number line? We're going to start off, what number is 8 units to the right of 0? Well, we're going to have to label 0 first, and then we'll mark our 0 with black, and then continue from there. So the number that is 8 units to the right of 0 is 8. And then locating the opposite of 8 on this number line, we could really show an arc going from 0 to 8 and then another arc from 0 to -8, since it is also 8 units away from 0 but in the opposite direction. And the opposite of 8 is -8. Then use the same process to locate the opposite of -8. The opposite of -8, -8 is 8 units away from 0 to the left. So the opposite would be 8 units to the right, which is +8. So the opposite of a number is the same number. That is the number we started with. To finish lesson 5, you'll be selecting cards. If you're doing this on your own, you can simply select a variety of different integers for your first card. Then you'll write what the opposite of the card is, and then write what the opposite of the card is as well. Finally, after you complete 1 and 2, you'll need to give a real-world example of this rule and complete the problem set